I've been looking forward to this next gentleman for quite a while. Please put your hands together for Dougie.
Thank you very much, John. So I was watching the news this morning and heard about a really bad accident that happened on the motorway. A vehicle carrying a lorry load of curries crashed on the A24. They say that the driver is stable but in a coma. The Globe the other day, the Globe Theatre, and I couldn't decide whether I needed the toilet or not. To pee or not to pee. One of my housemates came into my room the other day and wanted to have a conversation with me. He said that he had a really horrible skin condition, so I asked him to leprosy himself out. I was bored the other day, extremely bored, so I decided to sit down and invent a new instrument completely out of fish. I call it the bass guitar. And now for a final sort of beginning joke, global warming. Sorry, that was a really bad warm-up joke. So, I've recently moved out of I say recently, it's been a year. I've moved out of my parents' house recently, and I've now moved to Guildford. And if you don't know Guildford, it's sort of, it's London's uglier brother. But it's going to be better than Slough, so it doesn't really matter. And I obviously had to find somewhere to rent, so me and 3 other people, we found somewhere to rent. And I'm just going to tell you a few stories about these people, because some of them are just absolutely fantastic. So the first guy, Mike is an absolutely lovely stand-up guy, but he's got OCD. We'll get to that later. We've also got James, who makes a joke out of anything, like absolutely anything. It doesn't matter what it is, he will find some way to make it funny. And then we have David. David seems as though he's right out of sort of a Downton Abbey type show. That is, if you can picture him, it's fully tweed, sort of basically this, but tweed. And so I brought along a prop today, and he's graciously let me borrow it without him knowing. And this is Dave's diary. So the first sort of week we all moved in together, he began sort of writing down the weird and wacky things that were happening as he first moved in. But one thing first of all, Dave, he's a very strange person. He's the only person I've ever met that likes to take an umbrella clubbing. It's really, really strange, because imagine it, across the studio you see a beautiful girl dancing. You're like, quite like the look of her. So you start dancing, maybe side load to her. I can't dance. But maybe you start dancing side load to her. doesn't look too good, does it? Anyway, so this is Dave's diary. So this is the very first day we all moved in together. And I'll try and do it in Dave's voice. Sorry, just trying to get on the check, just realised how short I was. And falling off as well. Anyway, so this is the very first day we all moved in together. Almost burnt the house down after making my first meal. Need to learn how to use the oven. Day 2. Didn't have a shower in the morning due to a giant spider in the bathtub. I hope he either moves out or begins to pay rent. I didn't want to ask my housemates to remove said spider, as it may retract from my manliness. After trying to remove said spider myself, it jumped at me. Consequently, I fell to the floor screaming, managing to pull the shower curtain off as I fell. My housemates entered the bathroom to see me naked, covered only by a shower curtain, screaming at the top of my lungs while a spider approximately the size of a 50p piece scuttled away. In hindsight, it would have been less damaging to my image than if I had just asked them to remove it. Next day, we found a slug trail in the house. We followed the trail and it led us to the culprit. As James described it, we Sherlocked the shit out of that slug. The slug made a swift exit via the window with the aid of James. Day 4. We spent 40 minutes trying to set the timer on the new microwave. After 40 minutes, the clock read 22:50. This would have been perfect, however, had the actual time not been 17:25. Now, this is where Mike's OCD comes in, because Mike is he likes everything to be set in a certain place, and the microwave that we've got, every time you pull the plug out, the clock resets. So whenever we feel like sort of maybe having a go at Mike, maybe messing about with him a bit, walk into the kitchen, unplug the microwave. But the thing is, I don't understand why he needs 4 methods of telling the time. He wears a watch, he carries a phone, and there's a clock just up there. So, sorry, Mike, do you have the time there? 10 past 4. You sure? Yep, still 10 past 4. Are you sure? 10 past 4, it's still 10 past 4, Mike. Right, one last time, can you please check what the time is? Defrost by weight. What? Oh, okay, no, Mike, if you want to be more pedantic, there's a sundial outside you can use. So that's, and I've never met someone that needs to have 4 methods of telling the time. The only people I can ever think of that sort of need this are sort of stock exchange people, that all sit in a posh kind of bank and have like, Tokyo, New York, London, Slough on the walls. And the only other person I can ever think of is a James Bond villain. So he either moonlights as a banker or someone planning to rob Fort Knox. So, next we have, next on Dave's diary, it took me 2.5 hours to make a quiche that should have taken me 50 minutes to make. After 1 hour, I realised that the oven wasn't on. I still need to make sure how the oven works. I have somehow ended up with 7 bottle openers in my drawer. This is particularly concerning, seeing as there are only 4 of us in the house. I suspect one of them of being an alcoholic. The house is getting messy. We decided to, as a house, sit down and create a cleaning rota. After 1 hour of frivolous discussion, we still have no cleaning rota. My new housemate James gave me a welcoming present. It was an aloe vera plant. This would have been a lovely gesture had it not been housing a spider. Consequently, the plant ended up halfway across the living room. After the incident in the bathroom with the other spider, I am now sure my housemates think I am no longer manly. He is correct. James managed to injure himself by making a stir fry. He managed to get a nasty cut on his arm. Consequently, we had to take him to A&E. Whilst at A&E, everyone seemed to be in competition with each other for how long they'd been there. 2 hours? I've been here 3 hours. I've been here 4 years. Whilst at A&E, however, we did come up with a new game. A&E Bingo. You got a point for every time one of these things happened. Someone says, how long have you been waiting here? 2, did you want me to move so you two can sit together? 3, someone's loud and weird ringtone goes off. 4, someone complains to the nurse about why it's taking so long. 5, the nurse replies with, sorry, but we're busy. 6, someone moans about the NHS. 7, someone sinks deep into their chair when their name isn't called, as though they're being engulfed in a sinkhole. 8, someone lets out the world's biggest sigh. So, James came out of the hospital after several hours, and he said, that doctor was hilarious. Why, he replied. Why, I replied. He had me in stitches. Anyway, folks, I'm going to end on a high, so if any of you want the number of my drug dealer, I will give it to you at the end of the show. Thank you very much, folks.